This is our site plan survey. Everything that is needed in order for us to begin our construction is denoted here on this plan here. As you can see, we're standing right in front of the project site, and we just completed what is called the hub and tack survey. The hub and tack survey is what marks the four corners of our building pad, as you can see with the orange markings here. It marks the four corners of the building pad and the actual elevation, the finished floor elevation. Now, the reason why I always tell people that the most important document in your construction project is your site plan is because this document, believe it or not, has everything that you need to know in order to complete your journey in construction. So this is kind of like the keys to the kingdom, where the treasure chest is, and the treasure chest is going to be the fully completed model, the fully completed home once it's finished. So the most important items that we want to consider right now are, there's a couple. So the first thing is, as you can see here, we have our finished floor elevation of 10.5 feet. That means that the height of the slab, where the tile is going to go, where the block is going to go, everything is going to be at 10.5 feet above sea level. Okay, everything in this market in Southwest Florida is measured above sea level, and so that is the number that you see here. FF stands for finished floor. Important to consider here, we have our benchmarks. Our benchmarks are what is used as a reference. The reference elevation is taken on the crown of the road. The surveyors come out, the survey crew, and they mark using certain points that they put in the road, certain nails and discs. They set them down and they take that elevation, and that is our reference point to be able to know how high we need to come up here. And so as you can see, we have a reference point on the right hand side of the property and on the left facing side of the property. Let me show you those. So on the right hand side of the property, here we are standing. We have the benchmark elevation denoted here in orange. This is 4.2 feet. And so this tells us that if we were to take a grade rod and we were to set it right here, this elevation is at 4.2 feet. So as you can imagine, if we need to come up 10.5 feet, we need to come up approximately 6 feet, 6.5 feet in order to get to our finished floor elevation. So this is the starting point. In addition to that, our survey crew also comes out and marks the left and right hand corners of the lot. And this is important because you want to know where you begin and where you end, where your lot begins and where you end. Our lot begins here. As you can see, it goes back through the pink flag, which was just put down. And this is essentially the right hand line of the lot. And so if you can imagine, the right hand line of the lot will be here, and the house will begin somewhere over here behind the porta potty where those orange flags are. All of the lots here in this market are 80 by 125, so that's 80 feet of width by 125 feet of depth. That is a standard 10,000 square foot lot, give or take. Some are a little bit smaller, some are a little bit bigger, but roughly about the same. Here on the left hand side, we have our other benchmark of 4.05 feet. And so this is another reference point that we can use in order to take our finished floor. Some interesting aspects of this build to begin with, we have, as you can see, an outfall pipe that we had to install. The outfall pipe refers to a culvert pipe that we had to put underneath the area here on the left hand side of the lot. This lot was actually somewhere, give or take, around this area was actually at 0 feet of elevation, believe it or not. And so actually when it would rain and the tides would come up, the water would just pool in this area. And so the Charlotte County requires us to put an outfall pipe if we're not able to meet the actual rise and run, so the slope of the house. If we're not able to meet the slope, meaning essentially what they want is that for every 6 feet that you walk, that you don't rise any more than 1 foot. So what they don't want is for you to have a house with like a super steep slope. And so the way that we're kind of combating that, or just making our life a heck of a lot easier, is by putting this outfall pipe. Because if you can imagine, the floor, the elevation of this lot actually was down here at this, somewhere at this area. So if I get closer to it, you notice that given that we put the outfall pipe, now we're actually, look how much higher we are. And so It makes our life a lot easier because we don't have to meet that slope requirement anymore to this elevation. Now we have, you know, we're up here, and so it's a little bit easier to meet it. So in this case, we set that, and now that we have set that, we're pretty much in the clear. We don't have to worry about that. This is where the water runs from the front of the property, actually even from across the street. As you can see here in the swale area, the water runs through here, comes underneath this outfall pipe, and it drains out to the saltwater canal behind the lot. So this was a very important point. We had to pay for this to clear, trench, set the pipe, everything. That was part of the requirement for our lot here. So something for you to consider if you're building. Pay attention to any swale areas that you have on your property. As you can see on our site plan, again, the most important document, you notice that we have a utility easement, and actually it denotes right here, there's top of pipe. So it denotes that there is a pipe coming out through here. That's what we finished off here with our outfall pipe. So now that we covered that, we can talk about the four corners of the lot and what the hub and tack, the purpose of the hub and tack is. The hub and tack is important because it denotes the exact corners of where your house is going to go. So if you can imagine that, it's going to be this corner, this corner, this corner, and actually it would be this corner. And so if we come out here to our project site, you notice that our survey crew already marked those four corners, and they're all with the orange markings. Now, our pad is already elevated. We have set our pad here in order to begin our construction. This home is going to be built on what is called a stem wall. So a stem wall, for those of you who may not be as familiar, essentially means that normally when you pour a traditional home, when you pour the concrete pad, you are digging your footers and placing your rebar at the finished floor elevation, and then you are just pouring your concrete pad on top of that as one continuous piece of concrete, one continuous slab. And so the term mono slab means one continuous slab. This project is different in the sense that we have to pour the slab in two parts. And the way that we do that is by doing what is called a stem wall. The stem wall here is required primarily because of the fact that we have a high elevation. We have to come up 10.5 feet here above sea level. And so in order to ensure the structural integrity of the project, we are doing a stem wall. And that was actually required by the engineers who did our site plans and structural plans for this project. So the stem wall, the way that we run it is essentially at this phase of the project, we need to put the stem wall at 6 feet above sea level. And that is denoted in our site plan that I have there in the back of the truck. 6 feet above sea level is right now where you see this dirt right here. So if you were to take a grade rod and you were to set it right here at this elevation, you would be approximately 2 feet above the crown of the road. Again, remember, the crown of the road was approximately 4 feet. And so that is our benchmark. We always go back to the benchmark. That is how we reference elevation for our project. So our building plans call for a stem wall at a 6 foot elevation, again, 2 feet above the benchmark. And so what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna dig a footer all along the perimeter of the house. That footer is going to be encased with 3 number 5 rebar. The number 5 rebar is going to be placed parallel to each other, 3 of them side by side, 1, 2, 3. You can imagine it, it'll be here like this, 3 all along the perimeter. And then we will come and we will pour that footer. We'll pour the concrete on top of that footer. Once we pour the concrete on top of that footer, then we have our base. From there, we have to come up what is called a 7-course stem wall. This means that we have to come up 7 layers of block. Those blocks are going to be placed on top of the concrete footer that we already put. As you know, a concrete block is 8 inches by 8 inches by 16 inches. And so if you multiply the 7 by the 8 inches of height, you're going to have a wall that is going to measure 56 inches. So we're gonna have 56 inches of block right here. So you can start to appreciate how high up we're gonna come with our block. So now we're gonna have the footer poured, we're gonna have the first rows of block. And so essentially you're gonna, if you were to drive up, once we're done with the block, you're gonna see just a bunch of block around the perimeter, 56 inches high. Inside of that box that we've now built, then we're gonna come in and we're gonna backfill it. And so we're gonna backfill it all the way up to the 56 inches of height minus the 4 inches that we're gonna put of concrete. So actually we're gonna come up to 52 inches. 52 inches of backfill, leaving us 4 inches for the concrete slab. That is the point where we're gonna go ahead and pour the mono slab on top of the base that we just built, essentially with our stem wall. And so that's why this hub and tack is so important, because the hub and tack gives you the elevation. As you can see, this is going to be the front left corner of the lot. And the survey crew comes out and they say, this 8.5 feet right here, you have to fill 2 more feet. So 8.5 plus 2, 10.5. So if you were to take about 24 inches up here, this is going to be the finished floor. So actually our block is going to be 2 feet above this mark right here. That is essentially what we're up to today. We're verifying the elevations and the measurements. Every time that I come out to a project site, I always bring my grade rod, my laser level, as you could see in that orange bin in the back of the truck. I like to trust, but I also like to verify. I think that that is a key role in my role here as essentially the super of the company, if you will. I play a lot of roles and I wear many hats, but one of my hats, I think the most important hat that I play, is to ensure the accuracy of the construction. That is how we have been able to avoid major issues and costly mistakes. Of course, construction is filled with mistakes, but it's our job to be able to catch those quickly and be able to correct them as seamlessly as possible. And so that is essentially what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be measuring this, and we will be on our way, and we'll be getting ready to dig our footers and pour for our stem wall. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this, please feel free to like and share and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay tuned to all of the other videos that we're going to post here for this home. It's going to be a very exciting journey, and we're excited to share it with you.